Hi, my name's Guy Hobbs, son of David Hobbs, who once drove the Ford GT40, and I'm now here at the Throttlestop in beautiful Elkhart Lake, where we have an 05 Ford GT for you to come and look at, and we're going to take a quick look at the car and tell you a little bit about the history of the Ford GT40, some of the people that drove it and raced it, and some of its successes on and off the track. The original Ford GT40 experienced great success on the circuit, particularly in the hands of people like Brian Redman, David Hobbs, Michael Hailwood, some of the few people that drove it at Le Mans. And of course, I'm sure some of you have seen the movie with Ken Miles, Ford versus Ferrari. Now this, the road-going model, is not called the GT40 because the GT40 was 40 inches off the ground, or the height of the roof off the ground. This one, obviously, to go with regulations and traffic, has to be a little bit higher, so it's just the Ford GT. So obviously the big question is, how fast does it go? Well, it depends on how fast you put the throttle down. But it goes plenty fast enough because it's got this major power plant here, which came basically from the Ford F-150 truck, and then throw a supercharger on top of it, and it's going to give you more power than you're ever going to use, unless you're out in road America, of course, up and down the main straightaway. But although it started off as a truck motor in the F-150, has been modified just a little bit with the supercharger, the dual overhead cam, and producing about 550 horsepower, which will get you from A to B in a hurry. In a snap of the fingers, it'll get you down the drag strip. I don't recommend doing that here in Elkhart Lake from the four-way stop sign though, because they'll be waiting for you. They've seen it. Now, although I've never actually driven one of these Ford GTs or the Ford GT40, I have in fact been in a Ford GT40 at the hands of my father around Brands Hatch Racing Circuit in England, and more recently in this newer model in the hands of Nelson Piquet around the road course at the Miami Oval. I can definitely tell you the road course at Miami with Nelson Piquet was definitely more scary than going around when I was a kid with my dad. Mind you, that could have been because it was Nelson Piquet, who was somewhat slightly crazy as far as driving cars. There's a group actually of former racing drivers and current racing drivers, and they all live in the same apartment building in Miami. And you should see it when they decide to go out to dinner together, or they all leave in separate cars, or when they all pull back in together. It's quite a crazy affair. Having had the experience of going around the road course at Miami, at Homestead, I can tell you Nelson had the choice of driving. There was many cars on offer for him to drive, including Ferraris, Lamborghinis, some very fancy Mercedes-Benz, and he was there all weekend, and he stuck with the Ford GT40 the entire weekend. In fact, we couldn't even get him out of the driver's seat at one point. He wouldn't even get out to go for lunch because he knew if he came back from lunch, someone else may have stepped into his car. There was lots of other drivers there, and he was quite happy with this, and he loved the way it performed, particularly around the track, and the handling ability of the car, and the fact that the response on the throttle response, it would respond how he wanted it to. At the end of a 3-day weekend, we couldn't get him out of the car. In fact, he tried to drive it off home, take it home with him, but they wouldn't let him do that. So obviously the car itself has to meet new highway safety standards that the original Ford GT40 would never have met. That's why it's called the Ford GT. It had to be higher than the 40 inches. The highway safety, crash tests, and the interior of the car all had to be updated, but they've maintained basically the original look and shape of the vehicle that was originally raced back in the 60s. So for those of you who've seen the movie Ford versus Ferrari, and of course you're familiar with the GT40 colors, Gulf Oil sponsorship, and the blue and orange, this here in the red is also very sharp. If you can get the blue and orange if you want to have it done yourself and pay for it. I'm going to open the door for you and you'll see the roof comes off with the car to make it obviously much more accessible than the original Ford GT40, and you can easily slide in to what is a beautifully laid out interior, where of course all the fun starts, because then you get behind the wheel, put your foot on the gas, but it's great fun to drive and great fun to tour around Road America or Road Atlanta or any track of your choice. All right, well, we've seen the car, the body, the vehicle. What makes it go? This noisy little thing right here. So we're going to fire that up for you. Certainly going to be able to hear what the Ford GT sounds like, and it's impressive. All right, let's fire her up. So again, my name is Guy Hobbs. This is the Throttlestop, open to the public here in beautiful Elkhart Lake, home of Road America. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on another edition.